Hey guys, welcome back. We are here today with a premium metagame tier list. This is going to explore what decks are really good in premium at the moment, and obviously this is before the ban lists are coming in a couple weeks. So this is kind of a revision or an analysis of what BSF has provided us in terms of what has topped and what has impacted the meta. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. If you guys enjoy this, like, subscribe down below. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. If you guys need any coaching for the next season for BRO or BCS and maybe want a chance to get to Worlds, feel free to book a session with me. My Metafy link is in the bottom right hand corner. It is metafy.gg/@Derek-Dow. Feel free to book a session with me, and if you have any questions and even any troubles or any concerns of booking a session, feel free to message me on the platform and I'll help you out. So, going through the premium metagame, it has been a pretty big ride, very definitive decks this time around, and the metagame has been quite solved, but I think there are a couple decks that have kind of risen in popularity over this whole BSF season. Alright, so the first clan we'll go into is Angel Feather, and unfortunately Angel Feather has not made an impact at all. I really would have liked to see Angel Feather make an impact, and maybe Premium Collection will change that, but unfortunately Angel Feather is nowhere to be seen. Even the Gizeh variant, the only one that has actually seen any impact is like a no CL build. So yeah, it'd be like the only build that would be meta impactful. So yeah, I would probably put this in D because of how few or pretty much basically no Angel Feathers have topped the whole season. And I think even the past few seasons as well, it's got very lackluster support that really can't bring it back to life. So unfortunately, Angel Feather goes last. Next is Aquaforce. So Aquaforce has risen in popularity, and I think it's one of those decks that can really counter the big oppressive decks at the moment, such as Nightmare Doll, such as Order Colony. So I think Aquaforce is somewhere here. It's not a solved deck. I think there's a lot of things that you could probably do with this deck that can kind of push it over the edge or like be super optimized. So yeah, I'd definitely put it in A. It's unseen territory, I think, or unexplored territory. I think the ones who profession in this clan will know how good this clan is into the rest of the clans in this premium meta at the moment. So Bermuda Triangle, I instantly put it in S. Highlander is actually insane if you know how to play it, if you know how to optimize your turns every single turn based on what your opponent gives you, and that is really hard. It is a very high skill capped deck. You need to know literally the ins and outs of the deck itself in terms of what it can do, and you have to remember every single name for every single card that you run in a Highlander deck. So even in that is already highly skilled. So I think Bermuda is there, and I mean, like, you have other variants like Riviere, you have, you know, well, previously you had, you know, Twa and stuff, but I think coming into this meta, like Highlander and Riviere have been the two decks that have really popped up a lot, which has really shaken things up. Dark Irregulars, since the ban of Castile Diamondus, it's really dropped off. The consistency of this has dropped off a lot because now you don't have to stride into, you know, your most broken stride, copy 2 grade 3s, and then kill your opponent straight out of the game. You actually have to work for your restands, and it can get very fragile. So I wouldn't put it in A because there's a lot of A decks that are really good. So I think the top of B is fine. Same with Dimension Police. I think Dimension Police is really good. It dies to aggro, but there's been a lot of DP tops for premium recently, especially in Indonesia and in North America. I think there's been a lot of DP And I think Zeal DP won first in Houston, along with my boy Noman. So I think DP has a really good slot in the meta. I think it might be in A, but I think it drops down to B, maybe, when Premium Collection comes out. And this list is not Premium Collection based, so just FYI. I think DP is really good at the moment because it can one-shot anything, and like the only deck that can really compete with it is Granblue, and Granblue is probably at the top somewhere. Borderline S, but I think Granblue itself, Pale Moon counters it. I think Bermuda is really good at countering it. There's just a lot of decks that can kind of cope with Granblue, but it's probably the top of A because not a lot of decks can, I guess, beat its consistency. But yeah, Gear Chronicle is probably in C. I think the masterminds of Gear Chronicle would probably be able to break it to make it into B, potentially low A, but it's not an S deck. You know, people like Vanguard Insider, Jay, anyone who plays Gears religiously would be able to push this deck's maximum potential up a tier and even up to 2 tiers. But, you know, we're talking about, you know, your average Joe, your, you know, baseline players, so to say. I would definitely put the clan as a whole in C. All right, next is Genesis. Regalia is really good. So I'd put it probably here. It has a lot of aggro, which can pretty much aggro out DP. Regalia, you've seen so many tops. Mo is a professional in his clan. Yeah, there's really nothing more to say. You guys have seen Regalia left, right, and center in every single region. Great Nature is kind of a lost cause of a deck at the moment. I think there's a lot of potential and a lot of things in there that can be optimized, can be created. But I think it's missing a lot of the early game, which would make this deck really, really good if it ever got like even just the mildest early game. But yeah, I think Great Nature sits in C. There's not been a lot of, you know, consistent tops with this particular clan, unfortunately. Hasn't hit the metagame this season or even in the last 2 seasons very much. So yeah, Great Nature can sit in C. Gold Paladin, I think, can go in B. I think it's probably in A once we get Holy Shine Dragon. Holy Shine Dragon with Percival is actually ridiculous. But at the moment, you know, you're playing a 2019 deck in a 2022 meta where everything else is faster than you. Yeah, I think this goes in B, but it can potentially have a huge impact against, you know, players who aren't prepared for it. So anything in the S tier, A tier, and B tier, I would definitely take to a regional, or at least I would consider taking to a regional. Anything below B, I would probably not. Kagero. Kagero can just randomly win games sometimes, just by, you know, critting your opponent out of the game. You know, you still have your DOTX, your Descartes, but it's a deck that, you know, lived back in 2020 and hasn't really changed. There is Eugene. There's Eugene Nazal, which is pretty good. So just that alone, I think would put it in B. Yeah, it's a very honest deck. It's a very respectable deck. You have to respect the deck, right? And if you don't, then it will punish you. But it's not an oppressive deck. Nothing like along the lines of your Granblues, your Aqua Forces, your Genesis, and stuff like that. I think it's a deck that if you had no idea how to play Premium, I'd pick up Kagero and I'd just play with it, I think. Link Joker, probably C. It hasn't really done very much, and those who did, I don't know. Chaos, I don't know. Chaos is a bit weird. It's a bit nerfed without Zinc. I guess the one that is really good is like Messiah Volko Beatdown, where you can just, you know, unlock and relock Volko and then hit for Force 2. But I think the deck itself isn't too great. I think all the other decks above it is much better. So I think Link Joker can sit there. Yeah, it's, I don't know. Mega Colony is definitely an A. Order Colony has taken the whole metagame by storm. This used to be a dirt trash deck until Ruination came out. And then Ruination with the book and then Ghidorah just made this deck really, really annoying. I think it'd be like here. I don't actually rate it. I don't actually rate the deck. Unfortunately, it's not super great in my eyes. Like, it's a deck I can give to someone who I need as like a fill-in for my team at BSF to carry me through to top 8 and even beyond top 8. But it doesn't necessarily mean that that person needs skill, because I think the deck carries the player more than the player carries the deck. So I think Mega Colony can sit in A. Murakumo is, I think it's actually an A deck. Low A, high B, I think. Shiryuki is actually pretty dangerous. I think I'll put it in high B, because I don't think it's that oppressive if you know how to beat it. But Murakumo is actually slept on. It's very slept on. Shiryuki is actually pretty bonkers. I think the deck gets better when you get Premium Collection 2022. But even now, if you're not prepared for Shiryuki and you don't know how to play against it, you get absolutely destroyed. Yeah, Murakumo is like pretty slept on. Novagraps, I put it in high C, low B. Yes, there were a few victors here and there, but I think overall, if it got Sazanda, I'd put it here. If it got Sazanda, I'd put it in B, but I think high C is okay. It's not a deck I would consider to bring to BSF, but the ones who bring it, similar to Gears, the ones who bring it are the ones who master the deck and know how to play it. So I'd put it in C. So Narukami, yeah, I definitely put it in A. Arads is really good. Vanquish is really good too. Stunverse is just a broken card. Yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Narukami is really good. I would actually probably rate Narukami above Mega Colony. Would I rate it over DP? Yeah, no. Yeah. I think I rate it, yeah. So DP I think goes at the end. And then Mega Colony is just above that, I think. Neo Nectar, I'm sorry. That's all I have to say. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Nobatama, probably in C. We have seen Hanzos, and again, the clan's professionals will bring that deck up a tier, right? You'll be sitting amongst the Bs if you're the Hanzo player that topped, I think it was like Anthony, I think that's his name, from Europe. So if you're him and you're playing Hanzo, you'll bring this deck from a C tier to a B tier and potentially an A tier deck. I think the deck is really good. Whether or not I can justify putting it in B, I don't think so. It'd probably be like high C, probably better than Novagraps. But whether or not I put it in B, I don't think so. I think the deck is like pretty good. OTT, a B deck for sure. Kaliko with Amaterasu is just bonkers. You still have to prepare for, you know, your Momo with like 30k, 60k with 3 crit. If you don't have PGs, you're like kind of screwed. But yeah, like I think OTT is very well respected. I think a lot of people still put respect for OTT, and it's just an amazing deck. Pale Moon is instantly S tier. Nightmare Doll is ridiculous. If you don't bring a Nightmare Doll into your BSF team, I don't know what you're doing. This deck is super crazy, and I have never felt such a strong deck just take over the meta so quickly until I touched Nightmare Doll into this metagame. It's not biased because I know how the deck works against everything else, and it just feels like, yeah, the deck is just crazy. And you can see the representation amongst all the BSF people, like, you know, around the world, the ones who played in BSF, the ones who took it. Jay from Solemn's team literally wreaked havoc with this deck. I won with this deck. It's wild. That's all I have to say. Pale Moon is S tier deck. Very, very good. Now, whether they're going to hit that in the ban list, I don't know. I don't see how a hit would probably hit this down a tier. I think if they hit Ginny, it's still good. You just have to replace Ginny with something else. But yeah, like, again, Nightmare Doll, absolutely cracked. Very, very good deck. Royals goes in C, I think. Oh no, actually no, it goes in B. Jewel Knights is actually really good. If you're not prepared against Jewel Knight, you might just randomly lose. And yeah, that they just ramp you like crazy. Them G-guarding into a Crystal Luster and then having Ashley as the Vanguard is actually scary. You have to guard the Vanguard, and if they, you know, have like Crystal Luster on a Salome, and then they end up restanding with the Salome, it's actually oppressive. Yeah, it's pretty bonkers. I think it's probably better than DI, but I think not a lot of people give respect to Jewel Knights. Jewel Knights is actually really, really good. The next clan is Spike Brothers. I think Spike Brothers is pretty good if you put it in the right hands, such as Living Proof, Surreal. Like, these masterminds at Spikes will be able to convert this deck into a really, really good deck. And I've seen a lot of Rising Greed on here and there, and I think the deck is very unsolved. But yeah, definitely impactful in the meta. But I wouldn't put it... Oh, I'd put it above Kagero. I'd put it above Golds. I think I'd put it above DI, but not above Royals, I don't think. I think it goes somewhere there. So I think Spikes is very slept on, and I think it only gets better with the Premium Collection 22 stride. That stride is really, really good. Shadow Paladin. Luard has actually dropped off the radar a lot, surprisingly. I think Luard goes like here. Luard is still good. Oh, Raging Form, right? Would Raging Form be better than OTT? I don't know. If I put Pale Moon against Raging Form, I don't feel like Raging Form would win. But if I put Pale Moon against DP versus putting Pale Moon against Raging Form, I think DP will come out better in terms of its performance. But yeah, like, you have to be very careful if you're playing against RFD. You can't give them 4, otherwise they'll clap you. So yeah, I think Shadows goes here, and Luard is still a respected deck. A lot of people still use Luard. I think, yeah, that's just how it is. Tachikaze is the last clan that we'll talk about. I think Tachikaze is really good. I think it goes in high B, I think. Probably better than Murakumo. Tachikaze is actually very unsolved. Especially the Spino Driver deck. I think the deck has so much potential. It is very difficult to play. It is a high skill cap deck. But if I had to put two high skill cap decks together, so like you know your Bermuda Highlander against a Tachikaze, if both players are the same player with the highest skill cap, Bermuda will come out on top for sure. But Tachikaze is really good still. So I'd put Tachikaze high B, potentially low A. But I don't think it's gotten enough results for me to warrant putting it in low A. But Tachikaze is definitely respected. I respect Tachikaze, and it is probably borderline A tier. But I won't put it there just because I don't see enough results. It's a very high ceiling deck and definitely respected deck. And yeah, that is pretty much my premium metagame tier list. That pretty much, I guess, shows you guys what premium is like at the moment, obviously before the ban list. Just to recap, Pale Moon and Bermuda take S tier, absolutely the best decks in the metagame at the moment, and then followed by a whole abundance of decks along with Granblue, Aquaforce, Genesis, Narukami, Order Colony, and Dimension Police in A tier. And then, you know, the other decks that are really, really good at the moment is Tachikaze, Murakumo, Shadows, OTT, Royal Spikes, DI, Golds, and Kagero. And then, you know, the not so great clans would be Nobatama, Novas, Gears, Great Nature, and the See You Guys Later type clans in D tier are Angel Feather, Link Joker, and Neo Nectar. And obviously, this is my just analysis on the current premium metagame at the moment. Like I said multiple times in the video, if you are a professional at any of these clans, you could probably take it from where it is at the moment in this tier list, up a tier, and just maximize on the potential of the deck itself. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.